Right, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to make a marrow brandy. So it's marrows that I made a wine out of probably middle of last summer. So it's been sitting there for a good 6 months, nice and mature, and I'm running my new still set up with it. So this is a converted Brewdevil, which is a brewing system, a bit like the Brewzilla really. And what I've done is I've bypassed the ordinary controlling system, or the PCB controller that you can see there, but you can see that the temperature's still working because the PCB switched on, but unless you switch manual or start, then the circuit doesn't turn on, it just uses the thermometer. So I'm not having to use a thermometer sort of externally through the lid or anything like that. So the lid I've got for that, I've imported that from China. That was something like altogether 30 quid to buy and 30 quid to import, so it's 60 quid, so not that cheap really with the import. And you can see my switches on the end there. That's my bypass switches. Now there's two elements in there, it makes up to 3000 watts, so 3 kilowatts. There's an 1800 and a 1200. So I put them on independent switches just so I can, just for the hell of it really, so I can fanny around with it if I want to. And controlling that, because I've bypassed the PCB, is my little voltage controller. So you can see it just bobbing up and down there. It's on 240 volts at the minute. So there's a switch there. Turn it down, turn it up. So that's ideal. And on top of that, you can see it's got a computer cooling fan just to keep it all nice and cold. And that just goes off onto the switch on the wall there. So the minute that's at full belt, just getting it up to heat, and the temperature's coming up to 71, so not be long before there'll be something coming through here. Now this setup's probably a bit different than most people's. I've got a sight glass there with an actual bubble plate in, so that's giving us an extra distillation. I normally do rum and brandy, very rarely do anything like gin or vodka unless the missus wants it. And you can see my little clamps here, I got those given, they're stainless steel clamps, and I've put them through so that they fit me boiler and they clamp on beautifully. So here's the setup here. So we've got the Brewdevil, and that's got about 25 litres of wash in there, the marrow wash, and then we've got the 2-inch tri-clamp going onto the sight glass. From the sight glass we've got a 2-inch tri-clamp going onto my homemade alembic bulb. So I made that from an old vase that I bought from a charity shop some years ago. And on that we've got a lin arm coming down. Now this here also doubles as the reflux column when I do vodka and gin, but I thought I'd use some more copper contact and it works excellently. And coming down from there we've got the thumper. The thumper's a new addition. I've used a 9-litre corny keg, and it's sealed with Teflon around the top there. I just used made a cardboard Teflon seal for it. This is the only joint that needs any paste on it. So I've got my paste ready there to paste that up. And coming off that, inside this, and it might look as though I'm using brass fittings on this, but really that's cut through, so that there's one of these connectors inside of that, so it connects like this. There's only a tiny little bit of might escape from inside here, but then that's Tefloned up, so it's copper to copper, it's not onto brass, it's not onto any silicon or any other crap. So coming off there, got a temperature probe. Probably don't really need one with a thumper, but it's quite nice to know what's going on there. And that was already in there, that hole, if one of you use it for other things. And then coming down from there we've got the condenser, all homemade, and we've got the input and output. So input from the bottom, so the water goes upwards, cooling it, and then coming down from that we've got the parrot, and I'm ready to collect the 4 shots from that. So that's the setup, and I'll do another little video on what I'm using for the water supply. So rather than mains water and waste snacks, I'm on a water meter. It's actually running off a 1000-litre water tank from the outside, which is filtered to get any crap out of it, and it's freezing cold. I've just ran it there to see what's working, and that is ice cold. It's probably only about 150 litres in there at the minute because I've emptied it out to get clean water in it. It hasn't rained much, but last time I ran it, when I did all of these, First run on rum was first pass there. It's come off like 62% and 30, so I did a whole double batch there, and the other ones have come off at like 50 odd percent. That was for a 20 litre run. So there's the setup there. So I'll give you a little update of how that works. But so far, this bubble plate here actually gets condensed and filled just by the alembic action of the onion. So there's enough cooling capacity on the outside of this and on the inside and the internal walls for the air to pass that to actually fill that bubble plate. It gives it a nice little fill. Obviously you've got to adjust the temperature with the voltage, and once you get it sorted and it settles, it equalises out. You get a nice bubble. Don't need a deflaminator or anything like that. Don't need a condenser to knock it down, and it runs beautifully. And the last time I ran this setup, it came off at probably about 90 odd percent, and that's through a thumper, and it's not a reflux, it's a pot still. So what I'm going to do today is, this is actually empty at the moment, so I'm going to run the 4 shots off through it first, and then what I've got here is, because it's marrow goes really nice with ginger, so I've got some pureed ginger in there. I'm going to run off the 4 shots, switch the boiler off, and then if you see over there, I've got a nice big jug sitting there with probably about 2.5 litres of the wash-in, which is nice and clear, nice and fruity. That'll go into the thumper once I've switched it off with the ginger. It's going to infuse with the ginger. Hopefully we get some nice results coming off that. So any queries, give us a shout and I'll let you know how I got on, and hopefully I'll post an update to see what it was like. Cheers.